shit, there's a bokoblin, like, kicking someone's ass over here.
Jacob, you gotta stop playing Zelda so we can talk about
Zelda.
Zelda.
Oh my god, you docked and he killed me.
Well, now you can...
game over screen?
Now you can do the podcast.
You hear that game over screen?
Now you can do the podcast.
No, thankfully, this game has some pretty decent loading times on the Wii U, so I can hop back right into the action. Oh, look, already back. I'm gonna go fight these bokoblins, sons of bitches.
Jacob, we have to do the podcast, Jacob.
No, we don't.
I mean, I've been playing all day myself, but...
There's bokoblins to kill.
There's always bokoblins to kill.
There's lots of them to kill. Ah, suck it.
So
there is nothing more satisfying than sniping bokoblins right in the face.
How many hours would you say you've played now, Jacob?
About 15, I just checked.
Yeah. It's crazy.
15.
It is
damn.
so good. I've done about 14 shrines so far.
Damn.
Oh no.
Jeez.
Oh god, I know my sledgehammer broke. Hold up. I promise I'm gonna pop past real quick. Hold up. Gotta kill him.
Man, it is raining really heavily where I am. Yeah, I haven't done that many shrines yet.
I've only done like 6, I think.
Yeah, I just did the 9th right before I got on here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was
Yeah, I'm very happy that that's the thing that actually upgrades your health and your stamina.
Yeah.
So I've been going ham on that.
Jacob, you're supposed to give like a spoiler warning, by the way. We are recording, just so you are aware.
Hey everyone, spoiler warning.
While Jacob is giving out spoilers and playing Zelda Breath of the Wild, I thought I would welcome everyone to the Digicast. I am here with...
Yeah, hey, what's going on? I'm
Nathaniel
Bandy
Bandy and Jacob Albrand and myself, Scott Lee. And remember that if you ever want to submit questions or topics for the podcast, to submit them to ask.fm/digicades. And with that, we need to start the show, Jacob. We got to start the show.
But a blood moon just happened.
Yeah, they happen periodically, all right? There's going to be another one, so you can set it down. Just
Stall Masters.
Just hit pause on the gamepad and put it down.
Is there a pause button?
Well,
I wasn't aware that I can actually pause this game because I've been playing it so much. You can actually pause it and stop it.
You can pause it. You are free to stop at any time.
These keys are so annoying. Not even because they're hard. The only time they're hard is whenever you get those massive swarms of them, and then you can barely hit any of them. But I usually just take a bomb barrier and just blast them right in the face. Or I like to just run away from them with my horse. Oh, the blood moon rises once again. I don't know if you can hear this.
Wow, those are some high fidelity sound effects.
So now there's even more monsters to fight. I don't know if I'll be able to podcast this week. I'm trying to save Hyrule here. There's a lot of Hyrule to save.
Well,
that's pretty much
lots of people haven't started trying to save Hyrule, and they want to hear what that's like. So,
and they need to get good then.
We should.
Oh God! Just sniped a ram in the face.
We should tell them what that's like on the Wii U and on the Switch, and we should tell them whether or not the game is worth the $60.
Jacob, pause your game. You're making me cringe so hard.
Tell them whether or not the DLC is worth the additional. What is that? $20? Is it $20 for the DLC?
It is $20.
Yeah. Yeah,
just hold up.
See if the DLC is.
Oh, there's that dragon again.
If you want to pay $20 for Link to have a Nintendo Switch T-shirt, that's.
You guys are gonna make me stop. I just found a dragon.
A dragon? You found a dragon?
Don't make me stop. Don't make me stop. Oh man, I love the music that plays whenever this guy spawns.
So Nathaniel, what are your first thoughts on the Switch?
On the Switch?
On the Switch.
Well, I do actually have a Switch review, but in case you have not seen that, I'm pretty happy with the system overall. I mean, I've already talked about it a little bit because I went to the Switch event a few weeks ago, but I gotta say I'm definitely happy I got the Pro Controller because the Joy-Cons, they're not as bad as I originally thought they were, like when I tried them for a little bit at the event, but I'm still not that much of a fan of them. Like they work, they're not too bad. You can use them in the Joy-Con grip, but the Pro Controller is where it's at. That's the controller you want to use for all your games.
And you don't like playing with the Joy-Con separated?
I don't mind it. If I have the Joy-Con wrist straps, those little grip pieces on, then it's a little bit better. Also, by the way, taking those wrist strap grips off is like the biggest pain ever. Like, it's so cheap. I don't know what it is about it, but
I didn't have that much trouble once I figured out the little locking thing that's at the bottom.
yeah, I mean, it's not hard necessarily. It just feels like I need to use more force than I should for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Woo!
Well, yeah, I tried like as far as Zelda goes, like I tried playing like all different ways, and it worked surprisingly well for me to have the Joy-Con separate in my hands.
God damn it.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on, Jacob?
I'm fighting a wizard, a group of keys, and the dragon is flying over my head.
You're fighting a wizard and a dragon? Are
shit.
you sure you're playing Zelda?
Oh my god! Oh, I did not see that coming. Give me all these wings.
So on the Wii U version of Zelda, do you get the map like the whole time you're playing? Is that what the deal is with the gamepad?
You actually don't get anything. The only reason for you to use a gamepad is if you want to play on it, and
Oh, it's just a duplicated screen.
it's just a duplicated screen.
Gotcha.
They took out all of the gamepad support for it, I guess, to make it on par with the Switch.
Huh.
But that looks like hell to climb, so I think that's a good time to stop.
That's good.
That's a good place to stop.
Yeah. Go ahead and stop. Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast, Jacob.
Yeah, welcome to the
I'm actually
podcast.
gonna turn that on. Okay. Hello everyone. This is the 25th episode of the Digicast. I need a drink of water.
And while Jacob is actually starting the podcast, I'm going to put you guys on hold and go ahead and play my Switch now.
Yeah. So Nathaniel, what are your thoughts on the Switch so far for the people who just haven't had enough time to go watch your review? I watched it.
He just talked about that, Jacob.
You know, it's funny, Jacob, because we literally just talked about that 5 minutes ago.
He just gave a recap of that.
I actually am not kidding. I did not know that you
Because you were playing your damn game.
I actually did not know that you talked about it.
Whose fault? Okay. All right. It's good. There's my recap.
There you go.
It's
That's
good.
all I needed to hear.
It's good.
It's good. What about you, Scott?
Good.
What do you think of the Switch?
I am so ridiculously happy with it, honestly. I'm working on a video for it right now, but it's just like, okay, it has its flaws, and there are things that are not good with it, I guess, and I really, really don't like the dock. But I think that as a handheld, it is hands down the most ridiculously awesome handheld that the world has ever seen, and probably will see for a little while. And I think it's like an important step. And after playing with this, and like the primary way that I've been playing it is in handheld mode, I never want to go back. Like I don't want to ever play another mobile game. Like and I have no desire to like play. Like I have no desire to like lug a laptop around with me, basically. And yeah, I don't know. It's I think it's game changing. I really do. Like, you know, despite the little things like we could talk about, like the Joy-Cons are a little too small, or they're not ergonomic, or you know, what have you. But like, and yeah, like the dock is flimsy and it's not worth $90 as it is sold separately, right? But aside from those little things, I really, really love it.
Mm-hmm. It's, yeah, like you said, it's definitely a game changer. And I can see Microsoft and Sony putting out something like this in the next few years. I would not be surprised at all.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's going to get ripped.
This is the next evolution, I think, in game consoles. And then eventually, like, geez, I don't even know how it's what could actually come after this. Like, eventually, we're just going to get like a little, we're going to get like a little USB stick, and that's the console. That'll be in like 10 years. You just plug it into your TV, or plug it into your computer, and then you're good to go.
They're just going to put a console inside one of the Joy-Cons.
Yes.
I think what's going to happen is they're going to basically take like a USB stick and you're just gonna stick it like in your ear, and then you're gonna become the gaming console.
Wow.
Yeah.
What everything you see will be the game.
Indeed.
Basically.
But isn't that already the way it is, Jacob? How do we know?
Oh God.
No,
I'm gonna go watch The Matrix now.
But I was also thinking about the fact that this is running off of the same hardware as the NVIDIA Shield, and like looking at the Shield versus the Switch, I feel like the Switch took what the Shield wanted to be and finally became that thing, whatever that is, because it took Nintendo to say like, no, we need to have, modular attachable controllers for this to really work, and now it does. And I'm honestly already looking forward to like whatever the next iteration of this is, because I think that this has brought the best stuff of the Wii and the best stuff out of the Wii U, and finally like we have like this coming together of all of these like parts to make something that in my opinion like finally works in like a very practical, very good way, the way that some things that they tried to make work with the previous two consoles, they just didn't, in my opinion. But
even though we're 13 minutes into this, have we officially introduced ourselves yet? I actually don't know.
Yeah, I did that too while you were.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, because that's already done, I have to ask. I guess you think that the Switch isn't like an awesome, like a good starting point, like to jump off of for the next console?
Wait, what do you mean?
I was just saying, like, do you think it's like a good base? Like, this is like a good bottom layer for Nintendo to just start with for their next console?
Oh yeah, I do,
like, or even in a few years if they do like another iteration of the Switch.
I think this is the next paradigm. Like, I think this is like the new way that. I think this is the new way that both like mobile gaming and gaming in general is probably going to be, because like and it really takes holding it in your hands to understand it, because we've all been talking about it for months leading up to the launch, but now that people finally have it in their hands, it's a totally different matter to actually experience what it is, because like there is genuinely nothing like it. And I know I probably sound like stereotypical like Nintendo marketer or something saying all that, but it's my genuine opinion that like
there's nothing like this.
There really isn't. I've never experienced something like this.
Did you ever play the Neo Geo X?
No.
I don't know if you even have any idea what that is. It's kind of, I've played that quite a bit because I had one of my buddies had one of those whenever I was in college, and it's basically the same concept. Like it's a it's a little handheld that actually looks kind of similar to a Switch in some regards. It's just a little handheld, and then you stick it inside this box that's like a docking station, and then you close the lid, and then you grab your controller. It's the same like portable type of handheld, but I mean it just plays Neo Geo games and like Neo arcade games. So obviously it's nothing, I don't want to sound punny, but breathtaking like Breath of the Wild. It's just old school like fighting games and 2D platformers and whatnot. But it's still really cool. I remember I loved playing it, and that's why I was like, whenever I first played that, I was like, holy shit, this is what I want Nintendo to do. Like, this is what I want console gaming to go to, because this is cool. Having that complete freedom and that complete control.
Yeah.
And obviously, that seems like that's what Nintendo wanted the Wii U to be, but it just didn't fully have that support. So now that the Switch is here, it looks like this is really the fresh start Nintendo needs.
Yes.
Like, obviously, I don't have one yet, and I mean, I have a whole video on why I don't have one yet, but I am going to get one, and it makes me more than happy to see people saying, like, this is an amazing console. It's a better handheld than a console, but it's still an amazing piece of technology, and it's really neat that this is where we're at right now.
It's pretty ironic that the Switch being the most open console you can play on your TV, on your handheld, to launch with a game that is one of the most open world Zelda games of all time. It's all just about freedom. That's all it is. It's just a big...
Yeah, true.
Ooh, look at that metaphor.
Very, very true. That is profound, Nathaniel.
Thank you.
And that's why you have 100,000 subscribers.
Just happened today. Hype.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm not jealous at all.
Don't be jealous.
I don't know. where that came from.
I don't know where Jacob's face just went just now, but
I definitely shouldn't have done that. I put my face like in a cup and drank some water, and whenever I was snorting, some of it actually went into my nasal cavity. So that was a really bad idea.
But I'll take this opportunity now that we're actually recording to say congratulations to Nathaniel for hitting 100,000 subscribers. Very, very awesome news.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you get yourself some Papa John's? Did you do that?
I did. Oh, my belly is full of Papa John's.
Did you? I wish when you called them, like you made sure to let them know, like, hi, this is Nathaniel Bandy speaking. So I just hit 100K. How about that free pizza I was promised? Oh, you didn't promise me anything? Well, I'm still Nathaniel Bandy, so I'd like a free pizza. And just hang up, and like they already know what your order's gonna be.
Wow.
Well, unfortunately, I ordered online. I didn't call them, so I could have written a note being
called,
like,
they would have recognized your voice, Nathaniel.
I could have left a note saying, "Hey, I hit 100,000 subscribers. Give me a free pizza."
Yeah,
I could have done
with
that.
extra pepperoni. Don't
Yes.
jip me, you sons of bitches. They never give you enough pepperoni. So the most annoying thing about Papa John's is they never give you enough pepperoni.
That's the most annoying thing about Papa John's, Jacob?
That's my most annoying thing about Papa
Jeez.
John's.
Jeez.
They give you a pepperoncini in every box, but they don't give me enough pepperoni. It's incredibly annoying and frustrating.
That's funny because they give you the exact same amount every time. I guess it's not
Yeah,
enough.
exactly. It's not enough.
I'm sorry to hear
I
about
want it
that.
to be swimming in grease and juice and pepperoni.
You gotta get that extra pep.
Okay, we need to stop making this a podcast tradition to bring up Papa John's every single time.
Yeah.
And we'll stop that as soon as you stop bringing up Diddy Kong Racing 2. So
I didn't say anything yet.
I don't
Yet.
think he's brought up
Yet.
DKR2 in like 2 or 3 podcasts, actually.
really, I thought it's like
I
every.
don't
All
think
right,
he has.
I won't bring up Papa John's until next month when I eat it again.
You're gonna eat it before that.
Probably.
Nathaniel's like, I
We
won't.
definitely know you're gonna eat it before that.
Nathaniel's like, I won't bring it up for two more weeks, and then Jacob's like, we record every 2 weeks, so that doesn't really work.
Exactly.
All right, we are 19 minutes in, and really not much of anything has been said. That's
No,
great.
that's not true,
So,
Jacob, because the first 10 minutes we were talking about the Switch and introducing the show and doing lots of important things, okay?
And you were doing nothing.
Don't
you were just
say that.
battling dragons or wizards or whatever it was you said.
Don't say that. Don't say that. None of that happened.
And
That's potential spoilers. None of that happened. Let's not mention that
so in what we were talking about, by the way, was like how profound and amazing the Switch is. And then we veered off into Nathaniel Bandy having 100,000 subscribers and eating Papa John's. I don't know how that happened.
And that's okay. And that's okay. That's the point of this podcast, is to veer off in whichever direction life takes us.
Whether that be into a Target restroom or...
So, with,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and with that in mind, being able to go wherever you want, how does the Switch feel in that regard? See how I turned it back around there?
Yeah,
I
so
actually haven't really used it as a handheld yet. Like I have,
Really?
like in bed. I've brought it to bed I think once or twice, but
Ooh,
that's about
I
it.
bet you brought it to bed.
Oh,
Nathaniel did take it to railroad tracks.
I did. Yes. I needed
Yeah, I saw that.
I needed B-roll for my
funny.
review. I'm like, okay,
Oh,
I just
gosh.
gotta play the freaking Switch everywhere, and then I saw railroad tracks. I'm like, okay, we're getting a shot of that. So that's what we did.
You definitely should have like sat on top of a mountain.
There's no mountains near me. I'm not close by.
You gotta go sit on top of a mountain and then show gameplay of you climbing mountains in Zelda.
Yes.
And then
Just
it'll be
climbing the
so
exact
meta.
same mountain. Climbing the
Or
same
you
mountain. Yeah.
you should have got the song from Rocky 4 whenever he's running up the top of the mountain, like in that training montage, and you're just you just keep going back and forth with B-roll footage from you and from Breath of the Wild, just constantly climbing up.
Well,
And at the very end, you could have been like, Dragon! Dragon!
What is happening right now?
Well, to be fair, in a couple of weeks, I'll be putting a video together called 50 Places to Play the Nintendo Switch. So I might add those as one of the places.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Like a mountain or something. Yeah.
Place number 50 on the toilet.
Yeah, I already have that. It's like number 5.
Place number
That's like
49.
That's like number 1 through 20, probably. That's easily the most use that people are going to get out of the Switch, being able to take it places.
Honestly,
is
I will
going to be the bathroom.
I cannot see myself ever taking that thing into the bathroom. It's a bad
It's too
idea.
luxurious for the
It's
bathroom.
a bad idea.
I love taking long poops, and I'm definitely going to be in there for a long time if I have Breath of the Wild. I don't know if I'm going to get Breath of the Wild on the Switch too. Actually, we should talk about Breath of the Wild because, oh my god.
Yeah.
I was not expecting this game to be this good.
The overhype was over.
Unfortunately, I was a mild skeptic of it. I honestly thought I was going to get it, and I was just going to think it's okay because I thought I was just going to have too many survival elements. But it is... I mean, there's nothing like it. Like, I've never gotten the same exact feeling that I've gotten from this video game. The only time I have, I guess, is the original Legend of Zelda, because you just get plopped in this world, no direction, no nothing. You have to survive.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard.
I'm leaning toward this being the best Zelda game that's ever been made, hands down, pretty easily. I haven't finished it, but that is the direction I'm leaning towards.
It is incredible. It's the best open world game I've ever played. I will easily put that out there. It is the most well-designed one. And and I don't want to sound like a snob or anything, but it kind of took Nintendo to do that, too. I mean, I've played fantastic open world games before, but this one is what I feel like so many developers have wanted to get at. But it took Nintendo to make it. Like, it is... I'm probably going to stutter a lot because I'm at a loss for words that I like this game this much. I do not remember the last time I sat down and played a game and just completely got lost in the world. I mean, I go to work and I think about Zelda. I get home and I play Zelda. I go to bed and I think about Zelda and I wanted to keep playing it.
Yeah.
And then I have to get up and go eat and I just want to play Zelda while I'm eating. And it's kind of driving me crazy, but it's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, my average play session is like 6 hours. It is so good. It's so good.
So good. But you know what's interesting is I'm really not much of an open world person, but something about this Zelda game, like, I think what turns me off about games like Grand Theft Auto, it's not. I'm not saying they're bad games, but for me, when I look at it, there's too much going on. There's just things happening all over the place. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. But with Zelda, there's some things going on, but a lot of it, you're just like exploring. Like, you're just looking around. Everything looks different. Every few minutes, you'll find something brand new to do. There's several different places to go, and all of them have some sort of purpose. And, like, I just have fun going up a high mountain, jumping down, and just gliding somewhere else. I'm just like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing ever. I'm just flying.
Yes.
I'm just gliding. I don't know why that's so satisfying, but every time I glide, I'm just like, this is so nice.
There's so much detail to everything too. Like, I think that's why gliding is so satisfying, because you get like a slight little bit of motion blur and you get like a little bit of wind and you feel it. I mean, you actually feel like, is there any HD rumble in Breath of the Wild, or is there any at all?
There's a little
HD
bit.
rumble in my brain. Like, it literally feels like I'm in his place when I'm gliding. Like,
I know.
Oh, it's so great.
The effects are great. Like, shield surfing too. Have you guys done any shield surfing? So much
I've
fun.
tried
actually
it.
haven't
Yeah, it's
yet.
pretty cool.
I haven't.
I
need to.
So much fun. Holy God. And the fact that everything is available at your disposal right from the start. I mean, I couldn't believe the first time I killed like a bokoblin with a tree branch and I picked up a bow. And I'm like, holy shit, I already have a bow. And from there on out, I've just been headshotting things. I've been hunting things. I use it way more than I think my actual like weapon. And every time I find someone who sells arrows, I buy like 100 of them because I just have so much fun hunting things with it. And something that you kind of started on that I want to talk about is the fact that there is detail in everything. Nothing looks the same. There's so many interesting things to do. I think that's what sets us apart mainly from other open world games, is the fact that there is just so much interesting stuff. Nothing feels dull. I mean, everywhere you go, there is like you said, there's something with purpose. Like, there's a point to it being there. And everything you do helps you out, or it could hurt you. I mean, it's incredible. I've never played a game with this much purpose to it. And the fact that you can literally run right to the end the second you get off the Great Plateau, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah, although...
This game, oh my god, this game is so good.
I don't think you'll get far, but I am interested to see if people will be able to... I mean, like, there's not even... I don't even know if there's a way... I don't even know if sequence breaking, so to speak, is like a thing for this game. But I am interested to see what speedrunners are going to do. I'm so fascinated with that idea with this game because there's definitely a lot there.
Actually, someone's already speedrun this game in under 4 hours.
Yeah,
I believe it.
I was gonna say you can beat this game. Like I'm not gonna spoil anything like story wise, but there are certain things that you're gonna need to do to build and power and go defeat this entity
to be alive.
And to go beat this entity, because you're not gonna be powerful enough. And if you want to brave it, you can. You're gonna basically have to dodge everything and just never get hit, like not even get touched one time, like in that entire however long it's gonna take you to run from the Great Plateau straight to the end.
Yeah, and the combat in this is so fun.
It's so hard not to spoil anything. Oh yeah, I'm trying to be so careful, like not spoiling anything, because that is the way to go into this game. Like, don't buy a guide, don't look online, don't even ask your friends like how to beat something. Just figure it out and explore. That is the beauty of this game, is not knowing anything makes this game 50 million times better, because you don't get that with games nowadays. Everything gets leaked nowadays, and the game, like, games always hold your hand and you have so many hints and tips to do everything, and this game is like, no, we refuse to help you out. Like, if you find stuff in the world that hints at you doing stuff, cool, but you had to work to get that. Like, we didn't just hand it to you on a silver platter. I mean, there's nothing like it. I mean, I can single-handedly say there's nothing like this game that has intrigued me this much in years. I think the last time I was sucked into a game this much was when I played Ocarina of Time for the first time.
I truly think that this is the game that Miyamoto has always actually dreamed of. And it's taken 30 years of technology to finally get to Breath of the Wild. But I think this is what he was always imagining in his mind.
Yeah, because every other console has had like its limitations. Like Ocarina of Time they could have rendered an open world sort of, but it was more like a hub world.
Yeah.
And they couldn't stick a bunch of stuff in it because of the technology, like the limitations at that time. So it was more like a hub world where you could go to Kakariko, you could go to Lon Lon Ranch or Gerudo Desert.
And there's no loading times at all. The only loading times is when you die or you're going into a shrine, and that's it. But I'm
so glad you mentioned that.
And it makes sense when there's loading times to go into a shrine or when you die. But otherwise, you're free to go whenever. There's no stopping you. You just go.
I think that is one of the main reasons I love this game so much, is because it is complete immersion. Like, only a few games have provided that. Like, I think pretty much any Naughty Dog game does that, because they kind of load the entire game whenever you first start it up. But I think that is probably the best way to describe this to someone, is the fact that there is no loading times. It just lets you get completely immersed in it, because you never sit back and you're like, oh yeah, this is just a game. I mean, you just don't. Like, you just don't have that feeling when you're playing this. And that's why you can sit and play it for so long, because there's like not a good time to pause.
Yeah, and one thing, like on that point that I'm reminded of, it's really a small thing, but it's, in my mind, it's kind of big, is that the way that the dialogue is done, or the fact that you can basically always skip any cutscene, and the way that, like, when characters are talking, I don't want to give anything away, but it's there's like funny moments where like the dialogue is like self-aware, and like it makes fun of the fact that like there's like these like Zelda tropes and stuff, and so like you'll talk to a character, and then they'll tell you to do something, and then you come back, and then they're like, oh wait, that's my cue, right? And then they'll go into it, but it's like there's lots of little things in there that are just like little bits of humor, and you can always skip past it really quickly. And I realize that's such a small thing, but to me that's like a marked improvement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it helps.
I really don't want to. Yeah. Sorry, did I cut you off?
I was just gonna say, yeah, it helps pace the game even better. The fact, if you don't want to read the dialogue or whatever, if you want to skip through it quickly, and you can get through it faster than you normally could.
Yeah, but before I make my, my final little pointer about Breath of the Wild, I do want to, I do have some actual complaints, though. I mean, very, very few, and I don't know if you guys have any either, but
I have very small nitpicks,
For me, something I can't stand is the durability of the weapons is a little short, in my opinion, but at the same time, it doesn't bother me that much, because everything you kill, you can get their weapon. So it's not like you ever have a shortage of weapons, but it is kind of annoying whenever I find something I like and I'm like, oh god, and I can't.
Yeah.
I just lose it. Like I had this amazing spear one time. I think I had like a level 20 attack or something like that, and when I finally lost it, I was just enraged because I had to go back to just using like a sword or a claymore or something. But it wasn't that big of a deal because like 15 minutes later, I found one that was similar to it. So it's a mild complaint, but I did want to address it. Another complaint I have is sometimes the horseback riding just pisses me off. Just pisses me off because like you've probably already seen it in you guys haven't, but like the viewers have probably already seen it in this gameplay I have here. But there was one part where I was trying to just kind of hop off like a small cliff to get away from this guardian because I was just trapped in a corner, and all these stall masters were just hitting me, and I couldn't back up the horse because it wasn't recognizing my inputs because I was caught on a couple of rocks. And then the guardian just finally just blew me away, and I'm like, thank you. You're just finally putting me out of my misery because that was just a shitstorm. So sometimes the horse controlling is a little wonky and really frustrating. I mean, overall, it's not a big deal, but there are times whenever if you're in like a small corridor or you're in a place that is very claustrophobic, it makes it 10 times worse. So I doubt they're going to do anything about that. I think I just need to get used to the controls, but goddamn, it's so frustrating at times.
I've run into that a couple times, and I sent a tweet out earlier today talking about how there was missed opportunity with like swords, because I feel like swords should... I would be okay if they eventually broke, but what I really wanted to see is like they dull out first, and then you can sharpen them, and you can resharpen them like a few times before they finally break, and then that way players would at least be able to feel like they would get kind of a better life out of those weapons before they finally lose them. Because then, like you said, like when you find something you really really like and you think it's awesome, then like you kind of don't want to use it because you know that it's got that short life.
I've been holding on to a piece of like Guardian equipment that I got out of a combat shrine, and I haven't even touched it. Right. Because there is an area where I want so badly to get to the Sheikah Tower, but it is surrounded by Guardians. Like 4 of them, like 4 live ones, and I'm trying to climb this tower and get away from these things.
Yeah.
And they kill me every time, so I cannot wait to take that Guardian shield and just go mess those little shits up.
Right.
It's gonna be so hard. Those things are incredibly difficult to take down, but damn, I'm ready.
And that's another thing. This game does not hold your hand. Like you're gonna die a lot.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that's
it's
really
nice.
nice.
You better
to
get
see.
used to seeing that game over screen. I've died like 10 times and it's driving me crazy.
I've had so many like dumb falls already.
Yeah, this game ain't easy.
Yeah, me too. Because there's so many times where I'm falling off a cliff and I'm like, oh crap. But then I remember the second my body slams into the ground that I have a paraglider, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. That's what the entire first part of the game was about, was getting that bullshit.
Well, yeah.
I didn't even use it.
But I had moments during that first part of the game, of course, where you do some stupid things and you die really easily. Like falling off of like that first tower. Or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really think this is a spoiler, but I do just want to mention this really quick. The second you get off of the Great Plateau, I mean that moment was incredible.
Oh, it's the best.
Just incredible, because you're already in this part of the world that feels huge, just so big and just filled with opportunity, and then you just jump off of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you're teased for like the first couple of hours while you're trying to get the paraglider. You're like, oh man, I want to keep exploring. And then while you're exploring, you're realizing how big the place is. And then you get the paraglider, and then you jump, and you're like, oh my god, this game is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is so much.
It's not even like, it's not like daunting huge. It's like, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to tackle every single part of this map.
Yep.
In some shape or fashion.
And I always had
it's exciting.
I always had it in my mind, thinking back to E3, when they mentioned that the Great Plateau, which is what the E3 demo consisted of, they had said that that's 1% of the game. And so when I was finally taking that jump, I was thinking in the back of my mind, I was like, wow, I am only moving on to the second percentile of this game, if that's accurate.
Yeah.
I don't think that's accurate. It might be like 5% of the game, which is still remarkable because the Great Plateau is pretty big.
Yeah, it's pretty dense too. Like I just that's something I just really want to hammer home is the fact that every part of the map just has something interesting to do. I mean, I can't even begin to say how many games I've played where you grind through the same exact thing and you go and all these assets are reused and it just looks so samey. And like a lot of, and I don't want to call anyone out, but a lot of Ubisoft games are like that, just to put that out there.
Yeah.
And that is kind of frustrating. I mean, they're still good, but there's a lot of repetitive nature with that game design. With this, it just, I mean, they just hit so many things right, and I'm at a loss for words. I don't want to be, but I'm just, the game is incredible. I mean, for the love of God, just if you have a Wii U or a Switch, just please pick this game up. I have no bias against each one. They are both fantastic. If you're going to get the Wii U version, it's not really a gimped version. It runs beautifully. Actually, when me and Nathaniel were talking before we started recording, I did see this little article saying the Wii U loading times were actually faster, which I thought that was funny. But
if you're one of the 12 people to own a Wii U, then you should actually get the Breath of the Wild on that.
Yeah.
Because, let's be honest, the Switch has nothing else to play. All right, you got 1-2 Switch, which sucks balls. We could talk about that, too, if we want. It's got Bomberman, which is mediocre. And then it's got Shovel Knight, which everyone's already played. And that's basically it right now. So
you don't like...
It's got Fast RMX.
Yeah, it does have.
Yes, it does have Fast RMX too.
Nathaniel, you didn't like Bomberman?
I did not get to try it. I've seen a lot of reviews, and they've said that the online is really crappy. The story mode is really shallow. There's not much to it.
I mean, the whole reason I was going to get that game is for the local multiplayer. Because from just watching the local multiplayer, I'm like, oh, that looks fun.
I'm sure it's fun with local multiplayer.
Yeah.
See, I'll just pick up Super Bomberman for the Super Nintendo and do that. I mean, just to be honest, like I'd rather just go get a physical copy of that.
Right. Every time I see the title of Super Bomberman R, all I can think of is Sonic R, because no other game besides Sonic R am I reminded of that. Because what game has R at the end except Sonic R?
It's basically just like Super Bomberman, right? Like there's nothing really that new to it.
Right.
I mean, I haven't seen hardly anything on it. So I don't know. I guess it's like a reboot, but it's Konami, so it's probably half-assed, and it costs $50. So
yeah,
no.
All I know is I'm going on a road trip, and when I go on a road trip, I don't want anything else except for this thing to be there with me on the road. And I'm gonna be going like all across Texas, which for those who have never been through Texas is like traveling through like 4 or 5 states. Comparatively, so no, I'm gonna be driving through Texas and into New Mexico later this month, and
Houston is like the Great Plateau in the U.S. is Hyrule.
That's right.
Basically, yeah.
That's exactly right.
A very good analogy.
Except,
I'm ready for the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus to ship. I have that on pre-order.
Yeah,
it's gonna suck though because I can't play it, but I'll get a look at it and I'll get to read that sweet instruction book that they're including that looks like it's from a Game Boy game.
Yeah, I mean, but I was gonna say that for me, I don't really agree that there is nothing to play for Switch. I think that there's a lot coming, and like, I know that me personally, I know I'm weird in that like a lot of people are not like me in the sense that I really love playing indie games, and as a developer myself, it's a totally different thing to see what other people are doing, and we know that we're not getting a whole lot of AAA stuff. But we are getting flooded with indie titles, and to me, that's not a bad thing. Like that's something
I don't have a problem with the indie titles. Like I don't have a problem with the indie titles, but half the ones that on launch day are games we've basically already played. Like there's
true.
There's two different. There's Shovel Knight, and then there's Fast Remix, which is basically the same thing as Fast Racing Neo. So I mean, besides that, there's Snipper Clips, and then some other indie game I've never heard of. So there's not a lot of.
I think it's I am Setsuna. I saw that in the eShop.
Yeah.
But I mean, but you know,
Just
like
Dance 2017.
Oh yeah, that game is good. That game is a good Square Enix game. I do want to say that really quick. If you haven't played I Am Setsuna, please play that. It's a really good game actually.
Right, and I think that for a lot of people, like just for like the general consumer, people, especially people who missed the Wii U and didn't play a lot of the Wii U stuff, I think that there's still going to be a lot to come that many people did not get to, And we've seen through Nintendo's marketing that it's a much more focused message. And so I think, yeah, a lot of these games probably sold 4 or 5 million copies. But the fact that they have this focused message, and the fact that a lot of people, you'll ask them and they didn't even know that most of these games ever existed, I don't think it's going to matter in terms of sales. And or at least I feel that it shouldn't matter, because I know that, like, for me, like Fast RMX, I never played Fast Racing Neo. I still never played Shovel Knight. So and the fact that this is marketed more towards adults, and busy adults at that, people who want to take their gaming on the go. I am one of those people. I'm super freaking busy all the time, making videos and working on a game and going into the office and blah blah blah. So, you know, for me, like, I think it's going to work really well, and I think for people like me, it's going to work really well.
Yeah, I would like to say real quick, I've actually had a ton of people at my job talk to me about the Switch, just like between customers and between the other guys who work there. And a lot of these people are people who fell out of gaming or just stopped playing Nintendo stuff.
That's right.
And they've heard about this, and it's exciting them. And that's something that I was kind of shocked to see. I mean, I wasn't expecting Nintendo's marketing to have that much of an impact, to be honest. I mean, whenever we saw the initial reveal of it, and then we saw like the Super Bowl ad, I was like, oh, these are pretty good. You know, these are pretty decent. And I'm glad that they're marketing themselves more. But I mean, I've had a ton of people ask me about it because they know that I like Nintendo. And again, I've just had random customers who, like, I'll be selling a tablet to them or something, and then they'll start talking about the Switch. And I'm like, yeah, dude, that thing looks awesome. And I'll ask them, like, if they ever even heard of the Wii U, and they're like, what?
What the hell's
and
that?
They think I'm talking about the Wii.
Exactly.
And I'm like, no, like, this is basically the successor to their last console, and this is like what they wanted it to be. And they legitimately get excited about it. So that really fills me with hope that Nintendo is really going to drive this thing home and actually sell a lot and actually market a lot this time. So that's exciting to me. And I mean, again, like, I want to stress this again. These are all people who fell out of Nintendo, who stopped playing Nintendo stuff because they didn't feel like there was something for them there. So this is really exciting to me. Like, that is so cool to finally see people give a shit about something Nintendo does. Yeah. And I think Nintendo knows that, and I think they're going to keep driving that home, and I think they should continue porting Wii U stuff over, because we're in the minority. Like, Wii U owners are in the minority. There's a ton of people out there who have not played Splatoon, Mario Kart 8, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, and Mario 3D World, and Lego City Undercover, but Lego City Undercover is coming. I mean, there's tons of other games that people have not played, and they should be able to experience them. And they would be easy ports, I imagine. I mean, did you guys see that Breath of the Wild developer conference?
I missed it. I saw that it got announced, but I didn't actually see it.
Yeah, basically the Breath of the Wild team, Eiji Onuma just sent them an email saying, oh yeah, we're making Breath of the Wild for the Switch, get started on that. And it was just like the most nonchalant email saying that they were going to work on it for the Switch. And I think they had less than a year to port it over. Yeah. I mean, I know it wasn't that long of time, so I mean, the fact that they ported it over that quickly, and the developer of like Snake Pass, that one little weird indie game, ported the game over in like 2 weeks to the Switch, I mean, that's impressive. So that really has me excited about ports, because maybe that we may not get a lot of like huge AAA games, but we can at least get indie ports and probably AAA ports of old games, which is still something. That's still better than what the Wii U got.
Yeah, so, and once the sales numbers get high enough, I mean, like, this console needs to sell bonkers level numbers. But once it gets high enough, I think you will see AAA stuff that is like, you know, graphically watered down, but you're not really good. I mean, I don't think people are going to care. I realize, like, a lot of people think that there's this repeat discussion about what happened with the Wii U, and they say, yeah, we got AAA ports, but they were, you know, half-assed and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no, I think we can get the full games. You're just going to see probably, you know, reduced textures, lower resolution, maybe, you know, reduced like shader effects and things like that. But I think that this machine is totally capable of doing those types of things. And I think that if the sales numbers are there, we will see some of that stuff. It's just, it's not going to be like, you know, the Scorpio or the PS4 versions of it.
I feel like Nathaniel has had no time to say anything.
You guys are so fast. I can't even get in.
That just came to me like about a minute ago when Scott was talking. I'm like, I don't remember the last time Nathaniel said a single word.
Guys
because
are fast.
Me and Scott
I can't get
just
in.
Jump. Yeah,
the only way I can get in is if I cut you off, like I'm doing right now.
That's fine. That's fine. I believe me. Like if you want to ever cut me off, just do it. I don't care. I do it more than enough.
I will cut you off while we're driving and piss you off. That'll be fun.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yes.
By the way, we are all very excited that all of you still tuned in last week to listen, even though Nathaniel was driving.
Oh my god, my audio was so bad. Oh my god.
You could tell it was from a phone. I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it was that bad.
You have no idea how long I spent editing that. That was like almost 6 hours.
Yeah, it must have been bad, cutting out all of my background stuff.
Oh my god. Well,
questions?
That was a relatively serious podcast for once.
Besides the first 5 minutes.
There's a lot to talk about. Yeah. I mean, things are really going to pick up now that we're on launch week and we're moving past
at this point, I just want more games. I'm ready for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I'm ready for Mario Odyssey. I'm ready for Splatoon 2. I'm ready for all of that stuff to come out. Yep. Like that's all this system needs now. It just needs games. The hardware it's pretty much on point, aside from the Joy-Cons aren't perfect, but they're definitely as good as they need to be. But it's all it is. They just need those games, and they're getting really, really good indie games too. Like they just had that conference with the Nindy Showcase or whatever, and almost all of them I was actually interested in for once, which is never happens.
Well, they're being a lot more selective about the indies they put on there. They said that they're not just opening the floodgates for everyone like they did with the Wii U and 3DS. Yes. Like they're being very selective. I mean, I wouldn't say very selective, but they're being a little more selective with the games that they let onto the Switch, which is good because we do not need another Steam. So let's just try to forget that platform exists, because holy hell, it has been just a lake of fire the last 2 years on Steam. I don't even get on there anymore because it just makes me sad.
I think honestly, I might wait for Yooka-Laylee for the Switch. I honestly might wait a few weeks.
I'm getting it on PS4. There's no way I'm waiting for that game. I'm so ready for it.
Is Yooka-Laylee coming to PC?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll buy it for PC first, but I'll buy it again on Switch, no doubt. Because
you're gonna have to convince me to buy it before it comes out on the Switch. So maybe we'll talk about it on the podcast when you guys play it before me.
Yeah.
It sounds like this is a time to break and go to questions.
Indeed, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I didn't want to go down another rabbit hole. So yeah, let's break.
And break. I didn't even get to talk about 1-2 Switch. I played it. I played for a good hour. Dude, oh my god.
We'll just... I mean, what we can... I can make sure that this part is included in, but oh my god, I just try to forget that game exists.
Okay, so I guess I should probably talk about 1-2 Switch real quick.
Yeah, we'll give you about a minute or two, Nathaniel, then we're just going to keep cutting you off again.
1-2 Switch.
We'll give you about 1 or 2 minutes.
I'll tell you what. When you play 1-2 Switch, you're going to 1-2 switch it out of your system and destroy that cartridge. Because that game sucks big balls.
Oh, and you blew me back, son.
Burn.
It's unfortunate because some of the games in there have some potential. Like there's this one where you're rolling a marble and it's showcasing the HD rumble. And it's so cool when you do it. But that's the whole game. Like you just guess how many marbles is in the box, and it lasts for 1 minute. And all 28 of the games last for like 30 seconds. There's absolutely no depth to the game. This is not the next Wii Sports. Wii Sports had game modes. You were allowed to level up your character, you could improve and stuff like that. No, 1-2 Switch, it is a big piece of crap. It is so lazy. It's one of the worst games I've ever played, which is unfortunate because, again, some of the games showed potential, but nope, they threw this thing together in 2 months, and to make it all worse, to put the cherry on the shit sundae, the frickin' game cost $50. $50! Okay.
Oh my god, I definitely I'm gonna definitely just start saying shit Sunday from now on. Oh, that was great.
Don't play that game.
I don't think I've ever heard Nathaniel be that mad.
Yeah, he was passionate. There was passion bleeding from his mouth.
It was such a waste of money. Okay.
So what you're telling me is that I'm going to probably see used copies of 1-2 Switch the next time I walk into GameStop.
Yes. Yeah, the game.
All right.
The game is worth like $15. It is not worth $50. Seriously, do not buy the game for $50. You will regret it.
Yeah, I think Nintendo purely intended for that to be a drunk game.
Which
that's
is
just
fine.
how it came off.
You know, that's fine. It's not a big deal if the game doesn't have depth, but if you're going to do that, package it with your system. Don't make us pay so much money for it. That's where the biggest problem is.
Well, questions?
Questions.
I am sorry that you bought that game, and you could have bought Super Bomberman R instead.
Would have rather bought that. Yeah.
Okay.
Should I read the first question?
I'll read the first question. It's about Superman, so I feel that I should do it because I actually like Batman v Superman. Okay. Aside from all the games that you guys want to come to the Switch, how do you feel about the Superman 64 sequel where you could hold the two Joy-Cons out in front of you like you're flying a Superman? In other words, you can be Superman. It just makes so much sense.
Good idea. I don't know if it would work in execution though.
That would be fun.
If you're flying around a long time, your arms will just get tired.
Yeah, I feel like I would want that in VR.
Yeah.
And it sounds like one of those kind of churn and burn games like the Batman Arkham VR game. Like you play it for an hour or two and you're like, whoa, that was cool. Time to sell this. That's probably it. I mean, hey, if someone out there does make this game, like make it a thing, it doesn't have to have Superman in it, but if it has someone else flying around in it, I mean, that could be fun. I don't know, because I really don't like motion controls, and I'm still not on the VR train chugging along, but hey, if someone out there makes it and it's cool, I'd play it, at least for an hour, before I probably went in the bathroom and vomited.
I'm okay with motion controls if it's just like accelerometer stuff. Like Breath of the Wild has some accelerometer stuff in there, and it works pretty well.
Oh, like the aiming for...
Yeah, the aiming.
Yeah,
really
I haven't
nice.
done that.
Absolutely, yeah.
I've only
motion
used the
controls
Pro
for aiming
Controller.
is pretty good.
Yeah, I've only used the Pro Controller except for the little bit I played earlier on the gamepad here.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jamie asks, what's your favorite TV show? And
Stranger Things.
Okay. And I was going to say of all time or now or what? Is that really your favorite TV show of all time? Stranger Things?
Of all time?
All time.
Oh, I don't know. It definitely has a shot at that title, I think, yeah. I love Stranger Things.
It is very good. I would say for me...
It is quite good.
Probably Seinfeld or... or, yeah, at least just said to me, Fresh Prince. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is funny. I like that a lot.
I'm going to go with Breaking Bad. That's one of those shows that has that kind of... You know, Breath of the Wild sucked me in. Breaking Bad sucked me in.
When I
for first
sure.
watched
Breaking
it,
Bad's amazing.
Yeah, you cannot put that show down. You will watch a guaranteed like 4 episodes minimum every time you watch it. It's so great.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say Seinfeld. I like me some Seinfeld.
That's pretty.
And
good
Stranger
too.
Things. They're both amazing.
Yeah.
And what else we got? From Dean, Deanie boy.
Dean.
What do you think about the price? Oh god, I lost my thought. What do you think about the price that games are given, and do you think the price will increase over time? I'm guessing you mean $60 price tag. I don't know.
That's hard to tell.
It's kind of hard to say. Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna let Scott first answer this because I feel like he probably has more to say than I do.
I think they are going to slowly increase over time, but what we're seeing happen first, of course, is you pay a certain amount for the main game, and then the common practice these days is just charge little bits at a time for DLC. So I think what's realistically going to happen is more and more developers are just breaking up their entire game into smaller chunks, and they just sell you smaller chunks at a time.
So I guess technically game prices have already gone up because, like you just said,
exactly.
Like as an example, if you wanted to buy Call of Duty, season pass costs $50. and that is like a quarter of the game. So you're not actually paying $60 for the game. You're paying $60 for like a half of the game or 2/3 of the game. If you want the rest of it, you have to pay the extra $50 for the season pass. So technically speaking,
right,
you know, they cost more in general, but the thing is, the $60 price tag, I think we've kind of been at that limit for so long because developers know people will pay up to $60, but I think they're really afraid of bumping it up to $65 or $70. They might freak out, or they might be worried that people will not pay just because it's more expensive than 60, because it's been such a standard for like a decade now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to say. It is.
It's hard to say. Yeah.
Well, this last question's great. Jeremy Thompson asks, Jacob, is Breath of the Wild enough to make you forget about how you had to slide your dick on the floor of a public restroom? Actually, yes. Yes, it was, until you asked me that question, Jeremy. And now I'm going to go scrub my junk for the next 30 minutes, and we're going to end this podcast now.
Oh my gosh.
I actually forgot about that, too.
Oh, we all forgot about that because that's how good Breath of the Wild is, guys. Breath of the Wild. This is going to be in the accolades trailer. Let me tell you, Jacob Allbrain says Breath of the Wild is enough to make me forget that I smeared my junk on the public restroom floor of a Target and probably acquired AIDS. That is how good this game is. And with that, that's going to be the end of the podcast. We started great and off topic, and we're going to end great and
off topic.
I didn't want to say off topic because I was technically on topic with that question, but
now we're off topic.
We're gonna, yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. This ending of the podcast is just about as good as 1-2 switches.
I don't know, man. 1-2 switch was bad. It was really bad.
I'm not shocked in the slightest. I mean,
I'm not shocked
when
either.
I found out that there was a cow milking game, I didn't expect much.
It gets weirder than that. Do you want to know some of the weirdest games in that system?
Hit me with it, and then we'll end the podcast.
Okay, so there's one where you play as a gorilla, and you have to pound your chest to music. That's one of the games.
Oh
and there's,
my God.
That's not all. No, the weirdest one is called Baby. And what you do is you pretend your Switch is a baby, and it's crying, right? So you have to, gently just kind of cuddle it and, just do really, really light shakes, get it to calm down and sleep. And then you lightly set your gamepad down, and that's it. That's the game.
What the hell?
It is. I actually couldn't play it. I was playing with Cassie, and I'm like, I can't play this one. You can try it out, because I cannot convince myself that my gamepad is a baby. It was too weird. It was just too weird for me.
Holy shit! That's great. That's great. Yeah. Only Nintendo would make a game where your screen is a baby. Okay, and with that, that's the end of the podcast. Nathaniel, tell the people where you hail from on the interwebs.
You can find me by looking up Nathaniel Bandy. I'm posting a lot of Nintendo Switch video thingies. I don't care if you subscribe anymore. I reached 100,000 today, so at this point, I don't care. So that's about it.
All right, and Scott, you're making a game and you make videos, you said, and you work in an office. Tell the people all about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I won't mention the office. The office is the boring part. That's the day job, right? But yeah, making a game. You can find details about it at elegacorp.com, ELEGA corp.com. You can find me on Twitter at Scott Lee and at elegacorp. I also have the Gamefinity series here on the Digicast channel, which you can find in a nice, convenient playlist that Jacob has lovingly put together for you. And I have good stuff coming. I have a Switch discussions, many of those, of course. E3 predictions, Star Fox. There's a lot more in the pipeline, so you can look forward to that.
Yeah, and as you know, I'm your wonderful, lovely host, Jacob. I have now turned my Wii U back on because, let's be honest, this is exactly what I'm going right back to doing. And
it's final candlelight.
Yes, it's final candlelight.
Before it finally fades away forever.
It's final hour. What are we doing? Was it? Oh, I thought there was about to be an update. Listen to this. Start boot up. Oh, of course. It says the connection with the Wii U console is unstable. Oh my god, I have to go. I have to go, everyone. It's been a great podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye. We're going. Bye.